Hey, it's me, Tamu, and welcome to Thinking Out Loud. Today's video will kind of just be a quick little rundown talking about all the recent issues that I've found prominent with Ubisoft. The big one, first and foremost, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail, is revolving around the recent Assassin's Creed Shadows and a couple months back what happened with Star Wars Outlaws. The biggest issue that I'm taking with Ubisoft right now is the way that they've packaged their different plans and models for their games. They have their standard edition, deluxe editions, and gold editions. And essentially, they have like a season pass and early access to play these games early and get extra benefits from playing a game that you don't even know you're gonna really like. And look, that's been around for ages. What are you going to do about it? But I think like the real problem I have with the now is that they're taking quests that would otherwise be in the game and they're locking it behind like pre-order bonuses. So Star Wars Outlaws, for example, has you engage with one of the most iconic characters in the world of Star Wars, especially if you're a space scoundrel, and that would be Jabba the Hutt. Yes, you'll still get to spend time with him and talk to him throughout the story if you just play the game, but they've taken like one or two quests out of the game and locked them behind a pre-order bonus. And to me, that just doesn't sit right. It's a part of the content that I've paid for, and now I have to like, if I didn't pre-order that game or buy in and opt into playing this game and buying it before it comes out, I'm suddenly punished and penalized, and I don't get that full content experience that I otherwise would have got if I just decided to pre-order it. It's weird. Why do that? It frustrates me, and I think that like we should like the reaction that the community has had has been great. I think that you can't let people get away with this. You give an inch, they'll take a mile.
You can't keep getting away with it!
And they're just really trying to test the waters here to see what they can get away with. There is just so many tone-deaf missteps that Ubisoft has taken over the past few years. I look at like earlier this year alone with the release of Skull and Bones and Yves Guillemot like touting that it was a quadruple A game, a game that has a ship that has a fucking stamina bar. It's so stupid. It is like 5 steps back from what Black Flag was, and that game came out like ages ago, almost a decade. It's insane to me. But anyway, that's a whole other rant. Speaking of Assassin's Creed, more recently, there has been a reveal for the upcoming long-awaited Assassin's Creed Shadows. And there's a lot of people that are furious about this social thing with the protagonists and all those issues. I could not really care about any of that. My issues are with the model for this game as well. The early access, the way they've structured this, and the way they're trying to FOMO you into just paying to actually get to play this game and get to play it earlier. And this is becoming more of a thing that I see more and more as the years go on. It used to be a thing for like live service games. I remember like games like Anthem having this. Anthem, gross. But now I look at like games like single player games like Starfield, and more recently now we have Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows with the same plan. And I just don't get why you need to pay to play a single player game early. Like, I understand the benefit, but I just don't get why they would take that approach. They're really just trying to convince people to pay more money to play a game and hope you FOMO so you get that 3 days early access. I think that the next issue that I'm thinking about with Ubisoft in particular, that is an ever-growing issue with modern video games in general, is the infamous always online feature. It's a pain, and it leads to games when they eventually are taken offline being just completely flatlined. Some games do get an offline feature, but many don't, and they just go off into the video game graveyard. And the most recent case for this is Ubisoft's The Crew, which was just flatlined as a whole. It's no longer playable or accessible. This isn't Ubisoft's first time doing this as well, as many may remember years ago with Driver San Francisco. It is no longer, well, purchasable or playable if you have a PC. The only way to access that game and play that game is if you have a physical copy that exists on old consoles. Overall, it feels like Ubisoft's approach to video games is just very tone deaf, and it feels like they are out of touch. It feels like they're just chasing trends to try and make a quick buck. I look at their recent Quartz program with NFTs, and then their tone deaf statement with Skull and Bones, the quadruple A, and it's just like they just don't seem to be the same studio they were when they were a juggernaut 10 years ago. It feels like they're just trying to find something to recapture the lightning in the bottle that made them their money, but they're still relying on old formats and stupid monetization practices that aren't going to continue to sustain and make them money, because people are becoming more aware of how predatory these approaches are and how little these games are offering. Don't get me wrong, they still do make games that I think are good from time to time, but these promises of like season passes for the AAA games and the way they try to milk many of their core franchises, whether it be Assassin's Creed or Far Cry in particular, it just feels like they're sucking the soul out of something that I do think was once great. But that's just me. I guess I'm wondering, what do you think a publisher like Ubisoft would need to do to get back on the right track? Because I don't feel like they're completely out of touch. They make some interesting experiences, but it's their core AAA games and these pushes with these monetization tactics that feel very slimy, and they really do turn me off their games. I just wish we could go back to the days where they just made a game first and foremost, and I guess things like little DLCs and added content came later and was an addition to the game rather than a promise before the games even come out. And I guess like them gating actual core content behind the pre-order bonuses is just also something that I just find absolutely horrendous. But I would love to return to a period where I can look forward to an Assassin's Creed release, or look forward to the next big entry from Far Cry or whatever Ubisoft is releasing. But as of late, and over the past decade, I feel like I've just fallen out of touch with their games and just not really as interested as I used to be.
I don't get you. Don't get you no more.
But that's just me. I want to hear what you guys think down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Quick little disclaimer as well, I'm working on some reviews and some added content, and looking forward to sharing it all with you soon. Thanks so much, and have a good one.